Hi, we're Oxygen Conservation, and this is the Shoot Room Sessions. Hey, El.
Hey, Rich.
Welcome to Shoot Room Session 2. Your first guest appearance on a podcast?
Yeah, I think what's weird is when you were your first guest appearance on a podcast, I turned to you and said, I feel like I'll make it and have like a moment if I'm on a podcast. And I just feel it's so relevant that
We're done.
this is it. Yeah, I'm done.
Like mission complete. We're going to need some bigger ambitions.
Yeah, well now, yeah.
Okay. So, this is kind of a joint construct of you and I, or Shoot Room Session thing. So, first one, we met with Charles, estate manager here, the guy who literally built the shoot room. Yeah. And we're now tasked with telling the stories that relate to that.
Yeah.
So, that's where we're going to start. So, we went out and we got a person.
We've got Charles army crawling now on his back.
I think that's fine. I think it's we're breaking the 4th, 5th, and probably 6th wall with Charles doing that. We'll just keep going. So we went out to hire for probably the best job title ever, and we wanted a head of storytelling.
Yeah.
And we got Elle.
Yeah.
So tell us about your experience of first seeing about OC. And this isn't the question I was going to ask you. I just decided I want to talk about it. So talk to us about the story when you about how you saw the advert, what you felt about it, and how you ended up here.
Thank God I saw it. That's all I'm going to say. It's funny how kind of life turns out a bit, isn't it? I was having, I think anyone who's been in a bad business, you have those days where you're just having a really bad day at work to the point where you're not okay carrying on with it. And you just have this moment of realization that this isn't the career for me. I want to do more. I had genuine environmental anxiety at home, and my other half was like, this has become ridiculous. You just got to find a career in this. Like, trying to do your personal life to fulfill it isn't enough, and you're not meeting like your own need. So go find a career. And he was really supportive in that way. And weirdly, I wasn't feeling my most confident because of my previous employer kind of knocking that right out of me, that I only applied for 3 roles because I had this wave of like emotion in an afternoon, and I thought, right, I'm going to look on LinkedIn and I'm going to look for jobs. And I applied for another role, and as a result of that, it suggested this.
That's we were your second choice.
Wow, actually third, really awkwardly. But I had known the first 2 were really well known like industries. So for me, I was like, oh, I know exactly what they do. And then it suggested this as a job. And I was like, I have no idea what these guys do. Hang on a minute. Let's have a little look here. And the layout of the job description, which we've continued on with recruitment now, which is brilliant, is it's not like any other job I saw. What's quite important, though, is it was above and beyond what I thought I could do at the time. So I thought, oh, I'm going to reach for the stars here. Let's just do it. You never know. And the finish of the write-up said, willing to share snacks on road trips.
Which isn't a line. You literally have to share food. Contractually obligated.
Well, I'm sold. I didn't even, I remember speaking to my parents about the job and saying, I don't think I'm going to get this role. And I'm okay if I don't get this role, but I need this company to know that I'm here, in the hopes that there might be another role as they kind of scale that I can be a part of. I just need to find a way in. And I've always been taught, find the company, not the role. So I was like, if I found them, they'll find a role for me. I'm sure of it. And so I just applied.
And then before we had the opportunity to meet you, we rejected you.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah, which I knew nothing about, I hasten to add. So
got rejected. No.
Yeah.
That was a fun one because I thought I was a little bit stuck. I accepted a promotion with my current employer at the time. And then...
and that was before we interviewed you?
Yeah. So then you interviewed me. Then I got rejected. So I formally accepted...
Wait. You got rejected before we interviewed though, right?
Yes.
Afterwards?
Yes.
Okay.
So I formally accepted the other role. It was like a week before I was meant to start. And I had this call being like, this was a bit of a mistake. Like, we haven't rejected you.
Yeah.
We don't really know how this has happened. Are you good to have an interview? And I remember as soon as I hung up that call, like a 5-year-old, I jumped up and down for what must have been 10 minutes, just like, oh my God, I've got an interview. So it was really exciting.
From our perspective, what was interesting about that is, so we went out for this head of storytelling role. And I really leaned into the fairy tale nature of that and had like almost a Disney-esque write-up of it. And people thought we were mad doing that. And then they were also who thought we were mad when I was like, you have to share snacks. And that line has been the one that has been repeated back to us more than anything.
Yeah.
And what people tell us is it humanises us as people, not a company. So your CV was fascinating because I think we had 100 or something people for the role, including a head of marketing at Disney, which in my head, that's who I had in mind when we were writing this advert.
Yeah.
And so yours came in and there was something about your CV that just screamed overachieving. And if I want something, I'm going to go get it. Because like it was travel around the world and job and just showed progression. And every time we went through it, and there's various people in the team who were sat and know they did this, they were like, do we really need to take this CV forward? And I was like, yes, there's something about it. Then we end up in a position where HR inadvertently rejects you. And I'm like, when are we meeting Elle? And they're like, oh, you're not. And I'm like, what? And in fact, no, I didn't even know not, because I only knew the story after.
Yeah.
We had this interview on a Friday afternoon, and me, Katie, and who was Dave when you found it, wasn't? Dave, so absolutely shattered and thought, this is the last candidate we're going to meet, and we almost cancelled the interview. And I remember just within the first 20 minutes, you just came with such energy and enthusiasm. And this is when we were still on Teams doing interviews. Yeah. And Katie's writing to me, do not offer her the job immediately. And then I have to tell the story about, you can tell it.
No, you tell it so much nicer. You tell it so much nicer.
You told a story about a dance club?
Yeah. So I'll start that bit off. So at school, I wanted to do some further curriculum at school, and in sixth form, and I didn't quite know what to do. And there was an opportunity to do something called an EPQ, if I've got that right, which was like a further, but you had to find your own subject within that. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I knew I wanted to, I'd always had a passion. Again, kind of like Charles, I thought I was going to go into teaching at one point.
Thank God you didn't.
Yeah. And I instead started up a dance club for children with learning disabilities in the hope that I had done some studies that dance and learning rhythm and learning pace could help with learning and writing skills, and even things like learning how to use a knife and fork.
That's
from a level of
sharing.
From dancing, you can kind of improve that. And I was really kind of proud of taking that on a journey and wanting to.
So you told that story to us, and unbeknownst to you, Dave's son Alex has learning differences as well. Yeah. And so I was seeing you tell that story to Dave.
Yeah.
And I was looking at Dave thinking, is Dave gonna, and then Dave explained that to you as well.
Yeah.
And it's the only time in my career I've ever welled up during an interview. Yeah. And I was like, win. And then we fast forward to me ringing you to offer you the job.
Yeah.
And before I could say anything, you politely thanked me for calling you to let you down personally.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, the founder of the company is going to ring me to let me down. How like generous. And
I had to say, well, this conversation is going to go a little differently to what you think. So that's how we ended up with you, Oxley Conservation. Yeah. And your job is telling stories and helping create the marketing and branding perspective of what we are. So I've got to ask, who are the companies and the brands out there that you love and inspire you?
Yeah, I've been asked this question before. And in all honesty, it's 100,000 different companies. In this day and age, when you go on any form of social media or you walk out the door, you're hit by 1,000 different companies doing 1,000 different things. And my kind of ethos is to learn from that and take 1,000 different concepts.
Steal their stuff.
To steal their stuff. That's marketing. So like our website is formed of the idea of a really cool cookbook that I love, work from conservation in some respects, and then things that I just find cool. But then on a personal note, I suppose I really like, I've got to do it, haven't I? I'm a huge Finisterre fan.
Nice.
I buy all their products. I'm sat on one of theirs, sorry. And we kind of, the reason I fell in love with Finisterre wasn't because of like their sustainability branding. It was more me and my other half had this dream of becoming these surfer dudes. I mean, we went and tried to be them in Australia. It didn't, he grew his hair out. It didn't work. So we were trying to like...
Did we record the bit where I asked if it would work marketing-wise if I grew my hair out, and I was like, no.
No, I think it's because I've seen ants and it wasn't an okay look.
You did ask for a longer beard, and my wife's ruled that out. So sorry, El. That's the sort of feedback you get when you've got an amazing marketing manager. They tell you what to dress and how to present
what
yourself.
not to do.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there's some really cool companies out there that's like Finista. I get really, companies are really good at bringing me in. I'm like the best and worst person for marketing because I'll fall for everything, but it's hard to keep me as a customer.
Like that.
So I will fall for any bit of marketing to the point where my other half's like, oh, for goodness sake, are you serious?
So through the proverbial shop door quickly, but quite
so
walk
quickly,
out.
but we'll easily walk out.
Just before we leave website, I think that's a really important one. When I imagined our website in my mind, it was high-end watch brands. Because the thing we've talked about the environment sector a lot is it is viewed and its image, whether you like this or not, is of the retiree and the volunteer.
Yeah.
And it's a child drawing of a tree.
Yeah.
And it's not aspirational, it's not sleek, it's not... And that's one of the root causes of natural capital and the environment not being an investable product.
Yeah.
Because it's not aspirational and there's not that element of quality or premium brand to it.
Yeah.
So when you see a watch site, and that the sort of first drafts of our website before we had you to make it wonderful, was very much featuring the photography as if the site was a watch on your wrist, and it was quality and pared back. And it's why I wanted the colours to be, and we didn't dress for the occasion in terms of black and white, but it's why I wanted it black and white and pared back, because then that's simple, elegant, and the focus is on the environmental imagery. And we've got the most amazing photographer stood behind the camera, Josh, who's all the work on our website is Josh's. He's unbelievable. So that's what I had in mind in terms of the thing. So sorry, you go through for the brand.
No. It's funny because that is essentially what this cookbook was. The photos were the story.
Yeah.
So it's funny how that was quite similar. But there's huge amounts of brands. There's brands that have impacted who I am and how I shop. And then, as I say, to keep me there, to go back to Finistère, I got brought in because I wanted that culture. But then I followed them through as like a valued customer. So when I got their packaging, I was like, oh, there's no plastic. This is stunning. I love that. To the point where I followed up with their wave events. And even now, I had a wetsuit for 10 years. It's a man's medium and it has holes everywhere. And it's just...
I mean, you didn't have to share that. That's totally fine.
It's a male wetsuit.
Welcome to Working with Elle, the joys of oversharing.
And I didn't know where to turn to. And then I went to a fantastic event at Finistère's in Bristol. And that was it. I was sold on a Ulux wetsuit and was really brought into that. So...
tell people why the Ulux is different from neoprene.
Ulux it's a natural rubber, whereas neoprene is man-made and produces horrific toxics, not only when you're working in the factory to produce it, but within a huge radius of the area.
Yeah.
And where its main manufacturing is in America, they call that section Cancer Valley, because the rate of cancer within people that live there is extortionate compared to the rest of the US. So as soon as I kind of had a real good understanding of this, I was like, I know what direction I want to go. And now I just tell everyone if you're going to get one, get Ulux.
I think your thing about sort of connecting with a brand, and then almost once you've connected, it's that skepticism of now, is it okay to love this brand?
Yeah.
And I've kind of gone through that cycle of yes, Finistère, yes, Patagonia, love Vivo Barefoot. And what product placement. What I love about those guys is the authenticity and the credibility through all of it.
Yeah.
And that's what I think I'm trying to convey, and we're trying to convey in our marketing, that it's open, it's accessible. You can't be everything to everyone, but if you're authentically you and say, if you're going to criticize us for what we are doing, not what we're not.
Yeah.
So that segues us on to what are we trying to achieve with our marketing and branding at the moment?
Yeah, I think it's a really fun stage because we're doing something that no one else has really done.
Certainly not in this sector.
Certainly not in this sector. Let's absolutely.
Oh, and that was one of the really exciting things about you not, whilst you've been mad passionate about sustainability and the environment, you hadn't worked in a conservation sector before, which was really important to us because we didn't want to just live in an echo chamber of bringing in someone else who knew what we did. And you and I talked earlier about certain really scientific things. You're well placed to go, that's not plain English, that's not accessible to people.
Yeah.
So sorry.
And it's so true because I'll read things and I sometimes challenge the team and they're like, but that makes total sense. And I'm like, but I don't know what it means.
Yeah.
Like, help me understand it. So that's really fun. I think the beauty of oxygen conservation is we're doing something no one else has done and we just want it to be cool. and it's creating a space that is engaging, it's honest, it's transparent, and it allows someone to visit us and stay with us, like we've just said.
Yeah.
And I think we're in this stage right now of developing what that looks like and how that looks and what channels we'd explore. And what I'm loving at the moment is that you and the rest of the team provide me that opportunity to explore that. So at the moment, we're finding ourselves.
It's brand building, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was asked this at the weekend, who are we marketing to? And we're not trying to sell anything yet. We are just trying to make it cool, make living in the environment and make conservation cool. And that's come so strong through our sort of recruitment materials. So 8 roles out there at the minute, over 500 applicants, and in there, so much reference to the materials we're putting out, the visuals, the storytelling. Yeah. You know, we got a message tonight, didn't we, about our storytelling being itchy nose, not lying. I know that sometimes people itch their nose when I was like, I wasn't lying.
I thought it meant people talk about you.
Is it?
Mm.
Our head of people is a performance psychologist. We'll ask him what the real answer is.
Yeah.
I wasn't lying anyway. Beautiful note this evening saying, your storytelling is magical. Thank you for sharing. Great, which I sent to Ellen. And it's very lovely. But that's come through in all our recruitment stuff, which is great. And especially from young people, just like new graduates going, I didn't know I could do this. I want to do this.
Yeah, but this is what really bugs me about marketing. And I'm probably leading on to the next question. I'm really sorry about that. But companies pay, and I'm not putting a downer out there at all. If it works for you as an industry, that's fabulous. That's fantastic. But companies pay other companies to do their marketing. Yeah. And the problem I have with it is you can't build a relationship with who you're marketing to. You can't understand that journey. You can't connect with it and build it. And therefore, I think people then go down the route of what do we think they want to hear? Rather than me being like, I sit there and go, but what would we want to hear? What would we want to share and how would we want to present ourselves? Let's give that a go rather than trying to deliver what we think they might want, this group of people. Let's just deliver what we think will work and try it and try again.
Yeah.
So I do think with that means that we probably try as a team, I'm looking up at Josh because we as a team, don't we? We probably try like 50 different ideas. 10 of them were then like, yeah, this could work. And then like one of them goes out.
Yeah. I think people think everything goes out. Yeah. So we filmed this really cool, I think it was cool because it was dystopian. And another brand we love is Through Dark at the moment. And I love their sort of authentic, absolutely credible special forces background, elegant, pared back, quality throughout it all. Brilliant. Tommy, lovely work. Thank you. So we filmed a bit ode to them up at Invergeldy where it was all darked out and a really dystopian, do we want to be the generation that killed or saved the world, which followed on from a piece I wrote. And we just couldn't get it to a point that we all loved. There were bits that we loved, but it wasn't quite there. And we haven't shared it. But we tested that with 20 or 30 people and it totally split. They're like, oh yeah, this is great. Get it out there. It's amazing. Others were like, that's a bit dark for OC. And so we haven't shared it yet and we'll keep working that through and it might be something. But I think that experimenting and trialing stuff and being honest about what's authentically us is so important. I think that comes back to the culture of the team. So one of the bugbears that I have, and certainly a lot of the team, is that big corporates go into a room, put a load of words on the board and say, well, that's our culture now. And the people who are actually doing the job don't believe it in any way, shape or form. And it's why it's so important for us to live impact, adventure and environment. And I think that's got to come through in all our materials as well, because that's the truth we're sharing.
Yeah, I think that's why I remember a good couple of marketing brand companies have reached out to me and said, "Oh, I can better help you write you haven't got your vision statement and your vision on the website, and you haven't written out your culture in further paragraphs." And I said, "Yeah,
bullshit.
Yeah, I haven't." And they're like, "But why? You need to." And I'm like, "Who says it? Like a marketing degree tells me I need to do it, but I don't think we need to do it." And will we further down the line to help employees? I don't know how that will look from an internal perspective, but for us, it's like a video can say 1,000 words more and the photo the same. And I feel like when we did the recruitment campaign, how did I best explain our culture? Well, collectively, we did the bloopers video, which essentially just felt was us. Yeah, rather than trying to deliver it in a whole load of words.
I mean, it was an interesting choice having the first thing that appears on the screen, your bottom falling over.
I didn't say that. I asked to change it. I asked to change it and no one has. And it's me falling over.
I didn't know this video was coming, and I have quite a widescreen monitor. So the first thing I see of this video is, oh, hey, El. Good. I mean, there's a lot of people falling over.
Oh, there's a lot of people falling over.
Check out our website to see El Bum falling over. All of El, but it starts.
Oh, it's terrible. It's actually really bad.
We've got way more bloopers now, post co-steering and stuff like that. So, how are we doing for time, Josh? Oh, nice. 2 minutes. Okay, cool. So I ummed and ahed about going to the challenges side of stuff, but I think for this one, I think we just stay on the positive bit. You want to go for it? Okay, so
what was the biggest? Yeah.
So what are the biggest 5 and 5? Well, I think we've covered. Okay, yeah. What are the best? What are the most exciting bits? What are the fun bits you've enjoyed most about what we're doing? What are the bits you're proud of and we've put out there? So.
Well, I think they're our biggest challenges.
Oh, interesting, clever. Go on.
And I know it sounds so cliche. It does, but I do think some of our biggest challenges have allowed us to do some really fun, like imaginative work. So kind of what I said to you, from scratch, like trying to start marketing from scratch can be a bit overwhelming. You're a bit like, oh, what way do I go and what do I do? So to lean into video more and more has been so much fun. And
that's become such a prominent part of our website.
Yeah, and I really want to keep pushing it, and we will. And we've got so much in the pipeline of ideas, and it's really exciting. But the next, I think another big challenge is expressing what we're doing through various channels to meet various custom, stakeholders or who is our audience. And that's really difficult because our audience is 50 different groups.
In every place.
Yeah. And so what that has meant is kind of us having to think about where can be the most impactful and kind of deliver the best result for what we need it to. And that's allowed us to kind of explore things like launching the newsletter, building the website into what it is. LinkedIn has become kind of our channel for the storytelling as well, your account primarily.
What we've had to do as a result of that is have some really difficult conversations that lots of people just don't have. So what does local mean? A massive one. So everyone was saying to us, have you spoke to local people? And increasingly I'd say, who do you mean? And there was never one answer.
Yeah.
And we've had everything from 50 miles away from a site to the people literally living on it. And my favourite one is those people that don't think local matters as regards space and time. People who might one day visit an estate deserve a local opinion. It's like, well, that's a lovely concept and has a romanticism to it, but I can't go speak to and ask the opinion of someone who might one day want of it. So that's been a real challenge. And what I've loved is taking those to our sort of team meeting on a Monday morning and saying, this is complicated. What do we all think? And another one's volunteers, right?
Yeah.
So you think about something once. We're going to plant a lot of trees. So between now and the end of the year, we're going to put 250,000 trees in the ground, which is amazing. And great job to the environment team out there driving that forward. And the question is, isn't it lovely to do a volunteer piece on that? And your first thought is, yes, of course it is. And then when you start analysing it, well, hold on a second. We want to be a catalyst for the rural economy. Yeah. There are really skilled professional tree planters that go from me planting 50 in a day for a photo op through to a professional tree planter doing 3,000.
Yeah.
And if we bring in volunteers, we're taking that job away from someone, which makes us a hypocrite. That doesn't mean I'm not criticising all voluntary tree planters out there. Please keep doing it, and we'll make that a feature of some of what we do.
Yeah.
But en masse, we need to create jobs, not volunteering opportunities.
And I think what's crucial is ensuring we tell that story and deliver that messaging of why we've chosen that decision. And I do think, and more, well, as we're kind of growing, we're learning that we just need to be more transparent and more transparent. Yeah. And finding the time to tell those stories is a bit of a challenge.
So many.
There's like 100, and there's 100 learnings and 100 challenges. And
for people who genuinely do live locally, a site they look at is their life.
Yes.
We have 10 of them, and we live in different places, and we're trying to talk to a range of different audiences. So I guess the question that comes through there is, when we do put something out there, and because everybody has a different opinion.
Yeah.
So I'm very fortunate to have a wonderful wife and 2 children. If you ask us what we want for dinner, which we literally just did, there's 4 different answers. And that's just what we want for dinner, not what we want land use change to be.
Yeah.
So when we do put stuff out and talk about what we're doing, and we get a lot of pushback and a lot of criticism, how does that make you feel?
I think the very first time I had feedback, I went, oh, Do you remember the very first piece of feedback was to do? It was I don't know if I can really say it. But it was the Leon situation,
Right?
and I was like, oh, are we doing the right thing? Have I made the right decision? Oh my goodness. Yeah. Whereas now I kind of love it, because one of two things will either happen in my brain.
Yeah.
I'll either feel like, oh my God, we're reaching the audience of people that also don't like us, which means they're listening to us or aware of us, or that they're doing something, or their challenge will allow me to see something in a different way.
Yes.
That then allows me to go, okay, what could we do with this? You know, where's the next step with it? And allows me to kind of understand a different view.
So I had that exact experience up in Scotland. So I went to visit our Persia estate in Invergeldy. And I'd listened to lots of feedback before locally in that area, what I understood local to me, which to us is anyone who immediately neighbours the estate or is directly impacted by something we do or don't do on the site. Yeah. Feedback on the definition, very welcome. But it's ours for the moment. And I understood that traditional deer stalking from a sporting perspective was loved and embraced by the local community. Yeah. We should support that and make that a feature. We then hired the most incredible estate manager there, Tara, who was born on the neighbouring estate and is fully rooted as a member of that community over a long period of time. And she opened my eyes to the fact, no, it isn't. Yeah. It's a construct, and she described it as cultural imperialism. Yeah. And it's something that people from afar come and do to the landscape and then leave. And that just opened my, I was like, oh my word. And it's one of those things that like hits you in the face. And we talked about the phrase, and it's like you dive into a cold water pool. It's like, oh wow, clarity. And you're like, how did I miss that? And I've had that more doing Oxford conservation than anything else in terms of someone explains something and it's just a moment of clarity, like, wow, of course.
Yeah.
So then my opinion now moves to, okay, well, what's the most respectful, appropriate way of doing that and managing conservation? And you end up with there's very few absolute rights and absolute wrongs in what we do. It's all shades of grey. You're trying to find the right way forward. I should probably answer my own question in terms of that, how the criticism feels. I love the challenge. I love I don't like this. What about that? Can you do that differently? The ones that weigh on me a bit are where you get the...
personal?
No, the personal bit's fine. So favourite one of those, what was I called? A woke prick? A word you can't say on camera.
Yeah.
Okay, can you say it on camera? Was it woke twat? Yeah. So I was called a woke twat on TikTok after we did Lee's podcast.
Yeah.
Are you going to edit out that?
Maybe.
Okay. So Elle doesn't let me swear on camera, except the other day when she went, would you mind swearing on this one? Because I want to...
Really, really frustrated with the week of government.
Just means you're open to it as well.
Yeah, a little bit.
No, the personal stuff's funny. That made me laugh because I'm not really woke at all.
Yeah.
I don't know, what does that mean? But the ones that wear is like the sort of, the stacked, I don't like that, I don't like that, I don't like that, you shouldn't be doing that, shouldn't be doing that. What should we be doing? Just not that, just not that, just not that. It's the cumulative weight of negativity. Challenge, criticism, be better, do something, offer a different idea. But just that, oh, well, no, the world's fine, or you need to change that, but just not here. That sort of protectionist, negative, just like inertia, I think it harkens back to public sector experiences for me of just not doing anything.
Sure.
That's the ones that carry out for me.
We're probably going to get a few more of those.
You're right, we are going to get a lot more of that. And that's been something that's come to my mind that we need to coach and help the rest of the team on, because I walked into this knowing we were trying to change a lot and would be criticised. And I think certainly for new members of the team joining, especially people younger in their career, they come in wanting to do their bit to help the planet and to save things. And the reason they're being criticised really sits hard emotionally.
Yes, and it can do. But I do think what grounds, and maybe this isn't for everyone, maybe this is just me, but I do think what grounds you is knowing that we're doing the right thing. You get this like rush of realizing, no, we're doing the right thing, and I know it's the right step to make, and I know this is the story we need to tell for me, or this is the direction we have to go because we have to speak up about this and be positive about this and bring hope to others. And if it's not myself bringing that, it's you guys as a team. Like if any of us are having a bit of I've had this, or this situation's happened, we're like, right, come on, we're here to save the world. Like, we've got this. Don't worry about it. So it's either the team or your own realization.
I agree. It's that hope, it's important, because how many people are actually trying to bring hope forward?
Yeah.
And again, that's It's one of the reasons why we didn't run that dystopian clip, because we're the people that try and bring the hope and the positivity for that next generation. Elle, we have covered a wide range of subjects. Let me just check my list. The only one we haven't touched on with the branding is what are your dream collaborations?
Oh, that wasn't on there before.
Yeah. Viva Barefoot. Go the Biome project, which I'm really excited to be part of. Josh and I are going to London tomorrow to get my feet scanned so we can help them develop their next range of products.
Cool one.
Yeah, so we're going to do that. Well, that's kind of already there, right?
Yeah.
Because of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, other collaborations that you'd love.
I feel like you have more collaborations to love than me, because my passion's just to get this up and rolling to a point of just exciting all the time. But I mean, it would be a dream for me to kind of partner with someone like Finisterre Patagonia, to be fair. And I'd love to like be able to provide them the land where they go do their like shots, or seeing what online brand content.
Finisterre, if you're out there, Tom, hello. We actually have shots of Elle sporting the Ulex wetsuit up at Invergeldy paddleboarding up there, and we did try and overlay that on your. It looks great. So if you want to,
we didn't do that. We didn't do that.
So if you want to hire Elle for a publicity shot, you're good to go. A collaboration with us. So on my list, other than that, is I would do some really cool stuff with Through Dark, because
Through Dark,
them pushing the absolute quality of equipment and us trying to push the boundaries of what's possible in conservation.
But just also how they tell their story and how they demonstrate the narrative of how that brand's come about. They tell it in such a way that you don't even need to read further than the first sentence and you're engaged. Or the video, or the direction of the content that's being delivered. You're like, I need to click on this website and I need to know more. And as soon as you're in that website, thank you, Through Dark, because you inspired me on how I want to do a next section of our website. I was on their website and I was like, oh my God, I just want to like take this all in. And so it's brands like that are really exciting to kind of see where they go and develop as well. Nice,
very cool. Okay, so finishing each shoot room session with 2 questions for everybody. Yeah. The first of which is, if you had a mantra or a quote that you would like people to live life by, what would it be? I have like 20 of these. I'm stalling for time for Elle, but to the point whereby they play bingo on these that I use, and Elle was sat off camera touching her nose every time I use them.
I won't steal any of yours then. Mine's a bit, I hope it doesn't come across...
Just pause 1 second. There's a clock in this shoe room that we're doing, which is bird noise theme. Will that pick up on the mic? So if you can't hear that, it's a bird clock. If you can, it's a bird clock. Elle, your mantra or quote?
I have stolen this. I can't tell you who the original was, but I remember it being on a video I watched at a time in my life when I needed it most.
Ooh, exciting.
And it's This Too Shall Pass.
Yes, love it. And love it.
For more reasons than one, when you're in a really crap day, a crap period of your life, or just, a really negative space, I think you just remember that this too shall pass, but also to hold on to it when you're having a brilliant moment, when life gives you those real moments of excitement and achievement, be that personal or private, or work related. You got to remember that this too shall pass. So to grab it with both hands, run with it, and then remember it.
Absolutely agree. And the final question is, our mission is to scale conservation.
Yeah.
What does scaling conservation mean to you?
Hope.
So Elle, Stephen Bartlett has a tradition that we may or may not use. This might just be a separate section we do full stop.
Maybe
the previous guest asked a question of you, and he said, what makes Mornicott the worst site in the Oxygen Conservation Pot? He's on the sofa behind us, right? What made Mornicott the best site in the Oxygen Conservation portfolio?
What
did you just do? It's got a pool. Thank you, Josh.
It's got a pool. No.
It has an actual pool that's worth keeping, whereas we've had pools before that were just problematic that we had to fix and remove and make safe.
Mornicott isn't, it's one of the best sites. Let's not say it's the best site, but what it does bring is, you asked my other question and I answered it with hope. And no, I'm not going to give that answer. Sorry. I disagree with that. Because what I'm going to say is...
Welcome to working with Elle.
Yeah. What I would answer that with is change, and change is okay. And change can be positive if handled the right way.
I mean, there isn't a more obvious answer to that question, because Katie's involved.
Well, actually, yeah, Katie's my line manager. Sorry, because Katie is the custodian.
Yeah, nice. Josh looks more relaxed as a result of that. Okay, so Elle, if you were to have to set a question for the next guest,
Yeah.
you don't know who that is because we haven't confirmed yet. What question would you ask them?
What's the worst bit of branding we've done so far, and why?
Oh, interesting. Do you have an answer to that?
No,
Something you don't like?
no. I just would love to know why. Why did they not like what we released? Or maybe they don't, but then maybe we should say what's the best.
So, after shoot room session 2 closed, Elle decided she didn't like any of the answers she gave about brands. Sorry, no, she liked some of them, but there was a lot more. So this is the chaotic, wonderful nature of what we do. So Elle, let's do that again. Would you care to name 1 or 2 brands that you happen to love or adore, in fact?
I don't know why I didn't know where to go with this. I think I was just like, oh, I don't know. How should I answer this? And thinking about companies you would know of as well. But there's literally loads. I use a makeup product called Milk, which is hilarious because it's vegan.
Which confused Josh when he said, I just love milk.
I just love Milk. They're a fantastic makeup brand.
They're probably not that pro-dairy, but that's one for a different
No,
focus.
they're vegan.
And no, I know, but milk in general.
Oh, sure. Cool, this isn't going well either.
That's fine. Next brand, go.
So yeah, different products like Milk, Birkenstocks. I like them because they last for like 20 years. I've had the same pair, I'm sure, since I was about 12. Finisterre, Patagonia. There is an incredible Mick Fanning surfboards we're like obsessed with.
Nice. You mentioned a hair care product earlier.
Yeah, Kiki Co, which is a really cool. I think I'm saying it wrong, which apologies if I am. Which is a really cool hair product that I use at the moment. And the list kind of could go on and on, to be fair.
Nice. Are you happier with that answer?
I am happy with that answer. I think what's important as well is I shop really local. So like my jewelry is normally handmade, other than this one. If I'm like, I shop really local and I buy these beautiful dresses that are from, if no one's been, head to Wokingham on a Saturday. It's a stunning market there. It's done by this lovely lady who does recycled materials and gets the coconut bowls from her local Thai restaurant when they're going to be thrown out. She goes, collects them for free and then turns them into the buttons for the dresses. Amazing. So like, my like really green dress, that's from her. So shop small as well, because they're normally where you get the quality and they keep you on board as well.
It's a really difficult balance, isn't it, with us, because brands are marketing that we love, but as a general rule, it's minimise consumption where possible. Correct. And that presents itself in loads of difficult ways as well. Like, you want materials and gifts and things to engage with people and make them part of stuff, but we won't buy stuff that's wasteful for the sake of it. Yeah. So that local bit, that often that's why we default to sort of local food and drink and specialist produce that we can support a local business and we can connect with people on it and stuff. Okay, if you're happy, we're going to close that because we've got dinner waiting. Thanks all. Bye-bye.